And now for our special guest segment, let's introduce Cheryl Kilday. She's the president and CEO of the Spokane Convention and Visitors Bureau, of course the CVB, and Larry Soehren, VP and COO of Kiemle Hagood. Tell us a little bit about each of your organizations and your role within the organization. Cheryl, let's start with you.
Sure. Well, we've started calling ourselves Visit Spokane, which really speaks a little bit more about what we do, because at the Spokane Regional Convention and Visitors Bureau, we really are charged with being the marketing arm of the destination, all things Spokane, our region, why people would travel here, meetings and conventions, leisure, tour groups, business travel, all those sorts of things we promote and support through putting our community, our region on the map.
Absolutely, and very important to keep that economic growth and development going.
Yes.
And Larry, tell us a little bit about Kiemle Hagood and your role there.
Well, Kiemle and Hagood Company is a commercial real estate company, been around for over 40 years. I've been in there 29 years and work in the property management side primarily, and we do commercial real estate all over the inland Northwest.
So Larry, you're also involved in the Public Facilities District. Would you mind talking a little about your affiliation with them?
Sure. I'm one of the board members of the Public Facilities District. I've been on the board since 2004. I'm the immediate past board chair of that district. And our role in the community is to run and operate the Spokane Arena, the Veterans Memorial Arena, the Spokane Convention Center, and the IMB Performing Arts Center.
So we're here to talk about Measure 1. So Cheryl, tell us a little bit about Measure 1 and really what that's all about.
Right. Well, Measure 1 is our opportunity as a community to create jobs and become more competitive with our convention center as the centerpiece of the measure. It's really 3 projects. In 2005, when we expanded the convention center as we know it today, there were some funding shortages because of the environment at the time, and we didn't get everything done. We need our exhibit hall to be at 100,000 square feet, just a little bit more than that, and we need more meeting space right adjacent to that exhibit space in order to be truly competitive and reap the largest benefits that we can from that center. In doing that project, there's also an opportunity to be good stewards and provide some enhancements to the riverbank and improve the Centennial Trail there, which is a very high traffic area for the Centennial Trail. And then as that project has evolved with the Public Facilities District and looking at what a bond measure could do, it's like, what else as a community would we benefit from in this measure? And the arena, of course, comes to mind because we benefit from so many sporting events that have specifications that they really need more seats than we can currently provide them if we're going to keep the NCAA basketball events and things like that in the arena. So it also includes adding about 750 more seats to the arena. So it's important because we have great facilities, but we need to remain competitive. We can't just sit back and say we've arrived. We need to make sure that we're capitalizing and maximizing the opportunity from visitor spending and all the things that those facilities bring us.
So what about some of the misconceptions? You've talked a bit about some of the benefits. What are some misconceptions that people might have about Measure 1?
Do you want to start with that?
I think there's a few things that we hear in the community. And we've done presentations as a district to well over 2,000 people. I think we've hit every Rotary Club and every sort of civic organization. And things we hear about, our taxes will go up. And the fact is we're asking for an extension of existing taxes from the year 2033 to the year 2043. So these are a sales tax, a 1/10 to 1% sales tax, and a hotel motel tax of 2%. There's misconceptions that it's a property tax. It's not, as I just stated, that it's a city project, and I think we'll talk about the district a little more as to what we actually are, but it is a public facilities district project. I think the most common one we hear is, well, the buildings are never being used anyway. We've heard that about buses in our community in the past too, but it's not true. The fact is that we have quite a few activities and they're spread across the campus, and so you may see parts of it not full at all times. But the fact of the matter is we turn away some 25% of the leads that Cheryl's organization create can't come here because we don't have enough space.
Right.
And that's an issue we're trying to address.
Yeah, and Cheryl, can you talk a little bit about the multiplier effect that happens?
Sure. Well, there is a multiplier effect for each and every group that comes in. So you bring a group in, and we often refer to visitors as, we bring in taxpayers, we call them visitors, because they pay for their dining and their shopping and their own expenses while they're here. And people use meetings and conventions, consumer shows, all those things that these facilities attract that's when they often have their disposable income. So they bring it with them, and we're fortunate that they spend it while they're here. So for every group that comes in, we're really only tracking what they spend, but it ripples through the community 8 to 12 times greater than what we report out on.
Right. Restaurants are full.
We get calls.
Hotels.
We get calls from the shopping center, and we get calls from restaurants and small businesses and large. Saying we need more groups like the letter carriers, or in this summer we've got the square dance group coming, and they're seeing throughout the entire county. One of the things that I would add about a misconception is not just about downtown. I mean, it puts us on the map. It nationally puts us on the map. So business makers, people who decide where they're going to locate their business, start to think about communities that are on that map. And so, it puts our entire region on the map. It benefits us from people knowing the name Spokane and putting us into that consideration. So it's state, regional, national, all of those benefits, but it really is a regional economic engine. It's not just about the downtown.
It's marketing for our region to help economic prosperity,
yes.
Bring people in.
Yes.
So if this measure passes, how soon would we be able to see construction?
We think we can get started within a year. What we would have to do, the process is get the measure passed. If the voters allow that to go forward, then we have to sell bonds, and then we begin our selection of our design and our contracting teams, and then we move forward. The previous expansion took about a year to complete, but there were more projects that were more jurisdictions involved, and we think we can speed that up this time and be in the ground working within a year, next spring.
And there's some estimates that people are talking about a little bit. Can you share some of those estimates as far as number of jobs created and the economic impact?
Right. Well, there's about 800 new jobs, and we already have jobs that are related to the convention center. So it's about 2,200 jobs total. And a lot of those jobs at first will be convention jobs or construction jobs, but the tourism industry, the hospitality and the services, the ones that we're able to track directly, those are sustainable and significant. And then there's a lot of others. I mean, we have businesses, Jewelry Design Center tells us that they benefit from a convention, not the people who are here for the convention, but the people who work the convention. After you've got a busy season and they've had overtime or they've had other things, that's when they buy their own personal things. So those ripples create other jobs that aren't in this number.
Yeah, my wife keeps telling me there's a lot of conventions she has to go.
You need to go get a jewelry
exactly.
piece. Absolutely.
We could bring in a whole jewelry show for you.
I like your wife.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I like that.
It too.
But the reality is the jobs that are created are sustainable. Visitors spend. In 2009 are the most recent numbers we have for Spokane County, $741 million. And part of that's local taxes. They pay local taxes that then you and I don't have to pay. They dine in restaurants and shop in stores that if they weren't here, we wouldn't have as many of the things that we love. So it's economic development as well as quality of life. And we estimate that on any given day in Spokane County, there's over 11,000 visitors here. Mm-hmm. And so when you think about having an additional magnet that will bring larger, bigger national meetings, bigger regional draws that can have bigger equipment or whatever those commerce things are that people come to a consumer show, all of that will mean many more dollars. And we've evaluated our lost business reports. We surveyed meeting planners and asked them if we had these new specifications, would you consider us? And it was overwhelmingly yes. Mm-hmm. So the demand is there, the potential is there. We need the facility to help make us more competitive.
So it really sounds like you've done your research on this. You've found that there is a need and that there would be a response if that need was met. So if you could both leave people with a thought to help understand the measure and why it's important, please do that for us. Larry, why don't we start with you?
Well, I think it's important. The district has a philosophy that we will only do what the voters tell us to do. And so we're in this 10-year cycle that we've had where we go to the voters and say, would you like us to do this? And so it's not automatic. We can't unilaterally make a decision to go forward. So we're looking to the voters for guidance on this to move forward, and they have to either approve or reject that tax. We think we're stewards of the public money. We run great facilities. We want to make them bigger and more competitive, and we're very proud of what we do. And we encourage everybody to get out and vote on April 17th. That's
great. And Cheryl?
I think that there's a personal side to this. When people who live here, they live here for a reason, they love it, but when they think about where they're going to go for vacation, they don't think about their own home, or they don't think about where do I want to go for a meeting or a convention, I'm going to stay in Spokane. So I would encourage everybody to think of it from a personal standpoint, that we've got a great community to share, to support it as a destination, to support what it means to have these visitors come, because the benefit is truly economic as well as our sense of place and why Spokane is desirable. We all love it here and live and work here, but people when they come, they enjoy that too. And in the Northwest, we have the best package. We have a convention center on a riverfront. You go out to the right, the riverfront's there. You go out to the left, you've got over 60 restaurants, an entertainment district, lodging, all the things that people want. And when they come to Spokane and they realize our urban center and the great region that we're in the middle of, they want to come back, and they want to come back and spend more time and money here. So it's really the introduction, and it has huge rewards for all of us.
There's an organization, I think, that's developed. You want to talk a little bit about the organization that's really...
You're not allowed. It's really, the Public Facilities District is not part of the campaign group, but I brought a little flyer, if I can just show it too. But it's the Vote Yes, Measure One. It's Citizens for Jobs Now.
Okay.
And we've got a website.
There you go.
A website for Citizens for Jobs Now, and it's a group that's helping operate the campaign. It's going to be, getting the word out about the measure, that the need, that it's not new taxes, that it's an extension of existing taxes, that there's demand, that it's a good purpose and it's well planned. I think the Public Facilities District is a great steward of public funds as well as trust, and the venues that they have are green, and all of this is consistent with how we think of Spokane, and the Citizens for Jobs are really trying to emphasize the benefits to the residents and the businesses here in our community.
That's great. And I'm loving this part of the segment because Larry can't talk. And
it's a good time. And we're going to flip that.
Must you always offend guests?
Yeah, that's what I do. Well, this has been great. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to be here. And any final thoughts you want to share with everybody?
No, I'm excited to be here. I think this is a great opportunity for our community. At least that's why we put forth this measure on the ballot, and we hope that people take it seriously and really consider the value of it.
I'm going to say, please vote for this. I mean, really, we need the community support, and it will benefit all of us, and I hope people come out and vote with their ballots on Measure 1.
Outstanding. Well, let's give it up for our guest, Larry. So we're going to have some Q&A with the audience right now, and I think, Mike, you have a question here?
Thank you, Cheryl and Larry, for the great discussion on Measure 1. You said something interesting early on in the discussion about the benefits being more for than just downtown or the city. This is really a county-wide measure. So if I'm a voter in the valley or out in the county somewhere, explain to me how this helps.
When you talk just strictly about conventions, and the convention center obviously is housed downtown, but when meeting planners are looking at a destination for a convention, they often have a variety of meetings and different sizes. So they look at the entire destination. Every time we have the opportunity to talk to a meeting planner, we're including the valley assets of hotels and meeting space, their center place, and the different venues that they have. We're talking about Airway Heights and Northern Quest and all of those different things. So the airport, the facilities throughout the region, and the convention center are all really part of what we sell whenever we sell any citywide or countywide convention. But beyond that, having a convention center gets you included in a shorter list of cities across the United States. And what do people think about cities that have convention centers? They think they have thriving downtowns. They think they have things that are nearby that are a destination, and that's where the whole Coeur d'Alene, Spokane region comes into play. You can come here, have a meeting, spend your leisure time here, go skiing, do the recreation. We're a four-season destination, so it truly is, we don't sell square feet, just like a hotel doesn't sell pillows. We sell the reasons why we fill that square footage with meetings and why we fill those beds with heads.
Bill, I think there's a couple other thoughts about that too. One, even if there's a convention that's just downtown, there's the concept of compression. So the hotels in and around the core may be full. And we're told by hoteliers, including one of our own board members, Rita Santillanes, that that helps her hotels, which are in the outlying areas, to become full. The other thing I think that, and the reason we have such a broad approach, is the events that we have in the arena. They're not just city people that come to NC2A basketball. And that's a big one that we're trying to focus on. We are now undersized to host those events and can't bid on those anymore. So by adding 700 to 750 seats into the arena, we can now compete again. And we're told by NC2A they love the partnership we have with WSU to bring those here. They want to come here, but we have to raise the bar on the facility a little bit.
Larry, I was wondering if you could describe a little bit the scope and scale of the improvements that are being proposed for your facilities.
Sure. Within the convention center, we're adding roughly about 91,000 square feet gross, but within that is an additional about 18,000 square feet of exhibit space. That's a metric that Cheryl talked about earlier, that we need to handle the bigger exhibits. We also need to add about 25,000 feet of meeting space, and those are the meeting rooms that had to fall out because of budget concerns during the expansion last time. And so we're really calling this a completion project because we're going back now to try to finish that project. The riverbank is something a lot of people don't think about. The riverbank along the convention center area between IMB and Division, there really isn't anything that's natural vegetation. The geese aren't natural. The bank is eroding, and so it's really a key element of what we sell in the convention center. And so we've convened a lot of partners, and you'd be amazed how many people have a stake in that river. But brought them together to try to do a plan to restore natural vegetation, natural flow of the river, and create a better experience for the visitors there. And then lastly, the arena I touched on, adding enough seats so that we can be more competitive in the events that we need to bring to Spokane and serve the people of Spokane County.
Hi, I'm June Swatzel, and I live in Liberty Lake. And I was just wondering, when you have the construction done, are there local firms that have a competitive edge so that local people have jobs with this tax money that we're raising, or is it just go out all over the state? Or is there state money involved and maybe it doesn't matter?
Preference of our board where we can. We are a public entity. We're a municipal corporation, so we have to follow public bid laws. It certainly is. This is a question we get asked a lot. It would be our preference that the majority of this work is performed by local folks from design through construction. That's the purpose of creating these jobs in this community and why we want to go forward with that. We aren't locked into a low bid. To all you contractors out there, don't take that serious. Seriously, I mean, there's a lot of criteria that we can create that we have to look at the best fit for our project. And certainly, I think there's, from the feeling that I have of the board, that we would really value the local firms as much as we can. We've got great firms, both design and construction, in our community, and practically speaking, there's not a need to go outside of the community, but we do have to comply with the bid laws that are out there, and we'll have to see where that goes, but certainly is a goal of ours.
All right, so we have another question here in the back of the room.
Larry, I know you talked about the importance of getting the NCAA tournament back here to Spokane. How many exact seats would the Spokane Arena need, and where do you plan on placing those seats?
Good question. Couple things. One, we have, for basketball, 12,000 seats. And the NC2A that was a number that allowed us to compete. But within that, when they come into town, they take about 500 out of the inventory. That's for the supporters from out of town, the bands, media, all of the things that really support that. And so we really only had about 11,500 of sellable seats. They've now changed the rule to say they have to have 12,000 sellable seats, which means we have to go over that to create that. So we've picked the number of 750 to give ourselves some cushion. And if you can visualize the arena, they're going to go on the edges of the west end of the bowl of the arena. The big scoreboard is up there, and we're able to go in and put 300, 350 seats on each side of there. And make them accessible, not just for NC2A too. I mean, we have several concerts that sell out. We had Elton John here as an example and sold out the arena. Those would have been ideal seats because he was in a different kind of a stage setting, which that would have been a sellable seat. So it opens up some other opportunities for us from an entertainment standpoint.
You talked a little bit about the stewardship of the PFD and being good stewards. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, we have worked as a district, well, long before I was involved, in making sure that there were plenty of dollars available in reserve to keep our facilities up to to the par that we think is putting them ahead. If you were around long enough to remember the old Coliseum, it just went down, 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 and there was no maintenance. We're very proud of the maintenance we do on our facilities and keeping them in the arena almost in a like new condition. We're told by users all the time. I remember a story of even simple things when ESPN was here for ice skating a couple years ago. They commented on how clean it was behind the bleachers as they were running cables all over the place. So, I mean, it's just little things like that. We took over the original convention center in IMB from the city. We've spent millions of dollars on those projects to try to get them up to par. And this year we're looking at even another one to add more concession space into the IMB. We're hearing from our guests that we need more concession, more amenities. And so we're always looking at amenities, whether it's concessions in the buildings or the ribbon board that's in the arena we put in a few years ago to stay up above the competition and make it attractive for people to come here. And that we take that very seriously and would not jeopardize anything we do for any other projects. We are always watching closely our purview of what we have and make sure we're doing the best job we can.
Some excellent information, and I'm pretty sure we haven't heard the last of that topic.
Yeah, so, and I'm excited for just the effort from the local organizations, the way folks collaborate, and the private citizens and the public sector, and it's just outstanding. And I think this is all important stuff, and mostly we just need people to vote and get involved.
That's good.
Yeah.
Open up the conversation.
Absolutely.